Are you born with destiny? Or does it just come knocking at your door?
He's a young singer from Memphis, Tennessee. Give him a warm hayride welcome, Mr. Elvis Presley.
Get a haircut, buttercup.
In that moment, I watched that skinny boy transform into a superhero.
How do you convince that you are or even can be Elvis?
To Baz or to the world?
To yourself.
To myself. That's really where I had to start. I started by absorbing everything. I watched every documentary, I read every book that was written on him, I listened to every interview.
But you never thought, Elvis, I'm not sure if I want to tackle Elvis?
It feels like climbing Mount Everest. It feels like the biggest challenge I could possibly imagine, and it's absolutely terrifying. And I felt such a responsibility. And I've used this analogy before, but in the beginning it felt like when you're a child and you wear your father's suit, and it feels too big for you, and the shoes feel too big, and the clothes feel too big. And I realized that I was still idolizing Elvis, rather than looking at him from inside his own eyes. And so then that became my process, was finding, how do I strip away the superhero Elvis, or the caricature of Elvis, and get to the humanity? And so I did have to convince myself first. And for me, it was finding keys, authentic keys, human, universal truths. It was finding out that his mother died when he was 23 and she was his best friend, and that's exactly what happened to me. I lost my mom when I was 23 and she was my best friend. That was such a clear in, where I thought, that's true. That's something that isn't the idol Elvis. That's very human. We all, if you've experienced that type of grief, you know what that feels like. And it happened to be in this exact same age. There was many of those types of things that I clicked into. And then once I started to feel truth, then I knew that if I ever didn't feel that, then I was doing something wrong.
Tomorrow, all of America will be talking about Elvis Presley.
President, try not to move around so much during the tapes.
I can't move, I can't sing.
Some people wanted to put me in jail the way I was moving.
They might put me in jail for walking across the street, but you're a famous white boy.
The way he sang is God-given, so there can't be nothing wrong with it.
You had a movement coach telling you how to move like Elvis, but also telling you what made him move like he did. Can you share with us what that was?
Yeah, so I've been doing a lot of my own work on it, and then it was so helpful to have somebody be able to watch from the outside and to be able to watch footage with me. And it was like having a second mind. I would say, you see how he touches his face like that? Why do you think that is? And we'd go back and forth and we'd try to find the littlest, it might be the littlest thing, like what one finger is doing. Or it could be, what are his legs doing in a moment that is one of those iconic moves that you see him do. But I felt the difference when it would start to switch in to the music moving me, as opposed to me trying to do a move. You know, it had to come from the soul. And we got incredibly meticulous, but then at the end of the day, it had to feel like it was happening for the first time right in front of you, you know.
Yeah, but it can only happen if you've rehearsed extensively.
Yeah, we rehearsed, I can't even tell you the amount of hours. It was a year and a half before I started shooting that I was rehearsing every day. And I didn't live any life outside of it.
Oh, my love, my darling, I've hungered for your touch.
Reverend once told me, when things are too dangerous to say, sing.
Time goes by
I'm on before the show,
so slow.
and nobody's gonna remember me.
Can do so much.
I need to get back to who I really am.
Still more.
And who are you, Oz? I just gotta be making the most of this thing while I can. This can all be over in a flash.
You've played the king, and now you have to go back to Austin.
That's tricky.
Are you on your way, or are you already there?
I've now had a decent amount of time, and I filmed something else for almost a year, and that was sort of my methadone program after I finished. It was my way of trying to remember what I like to do, what I had to see my family. I saw them for the first time in 3 years. I saw friends. I hadn't seen any friends from home for 3 years.
You were locked up somewhere?
Yeah, because I stayed in Australia for 2 years, and then I went straight to London and I filmed for about a year. So, but the Elvis portion of it was those 2 years where I was, when I finished, it was an existential crisis afterwards, like who am I, what is reality, all that kind of stuff. And then just little by little, you start to sort of decompress and shift back in,